All right, first one on the docket. Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Dude, good show. Very cursed, but like in the best way.
So I love it because of how weird it was, how abstract it was. I don't think it's an S tier because I feel like a lot of episodes were hit or miss.
Well, here's the thing. We can start stuff in a certain tier, and then as we get more on the board, we can move stuff. I would say new concept for a show, new ideas.
It was also very unique. It wasn't just like a kid's thing. It was like a sailor town. To me, it's an A tier.
I'm fine with A.
We'll throw it at A.
I'm happy with A. Chat, is that a yay or an A? I'm seeing D's. C? Oh my God.
Those are your viewers. Hey, if there's a Wendigoon person in here, can you tell me A? Because that's what we would put it at, so we're better. It may go down later, but I'm gonna put it at A for now. That's a great one.
Class of 3000. Can I get one that I know?
Well, we're gonna do this one because we already pulled it out.
All right.
Yes, I've used to watch Class of 3000. It honestly wasn't that great.
Oh.
To me, it was a not as good Proud Family. It was a school for like musically gifted students. The teacher was like a jazz teacher and he was cool, but I don't remember anything else. It was fine.
I think a school about like maybe not so gifted people, because that's what I think I went to.
Like a special school?
Well, not quite, almost.
All right, C tier.
C tier? All right, I think you're being pretty generous with C tier.
Well, it's just mid. I think it's C tier for now. All right, let me give you a different one.
The Amazing World of Gumball, pretty peak.
Honestly, I was a little old for Gumball when it came out, so I never watched it that much.
I've got this newfound appreciation via like memes and stuff like that.
That's where I see stuff about it.
Have you seen that scene where the banana is at the gas station and he's like, oh, my so-and-so is missing. Can I put this like missing sign up on your window? And he's like, oh yeah, of course you can. And then he goes up with a hammer and tries to nail in the missing sign into the glass and it just shatters. It's a very good visual gag. I think we could start this one in the S tier and then evaluate it from there.
If it was me, I would put it at A because I don't know it enough to call it an S, but from like cultural relevance, I would say S tier.
I agree. Very culturally relevant.
Oh, Adventure Time.
I want to know how you feel about this. Do you know this show?
I was a little old for it, again,
Okay,
when it
fair.
came out. I tried to get it, because my wife liked it when she was younger, so I tried to watch it with her, and it was still like, I'm a little, I think, past the age range for it. But when I see stuff for it, it looks really cool. There's all these like character relationships to build over time. The Ice King seems like a very interesting character and stuff like that. I went crazy from The Crown.
The show gets a little deep as it goes.
I've always appreciated that, where like shows kind of start out with a couple steps and then flourish. I can appreciate it for that. I don't know it enough to call it S tier. Where would you put it?
Zero hesitation.
S tier.
It is such a good show. I've never finished it, but I've watched like a lot of it, and I've heard the ending is even really damn good. At some point, I'll finish
There's
it.
a sequel show out now, right?
Yeah, there's some newer show with it. I haven't seen that yet either.
All right, next one. Oh, here's an OG. Powerpuff Girls.
Ooh, okay. I love the intro for this one. They use like some drum and bass almost, or like breakcore or something. So they were ahead of the time with the music. Powerpuff Girls as a show, I feel like it was just fun.
I watched it all the time. I was like prime age range for when the show came out. And it would be like funny sometimes. I remember characters like Miss Bellum being funny. You never see her face and
Miss
stuff like
Bellum was bad.
that. Or like the mayor just being ditzy all the time and not recognizing stuff.
I think it was iconic for the time. It might not hold up with our 30-year-old brains.
I feel like some episodes were great, and I remember like concepts like the Rowdy Rough Boys. You remember when like he made the counterparts? I remember that being cool, but I remember there were a bunch of episodes I didn't care about. Honest, B tier, I think.
Especially compared to what we have up right now.
Like Powerpuff Girls was good and all, but it wasn't like Flapjack.
Yeah, I think above Class of 3000, below Flapjack is a safe bet for now. Motherfucking Chowder. Chowder did some great things. I didn't watch enough of the show to really like get the whole scope of it. The amount that I did watch, I think it was really fun, and I love that episode where they break the fourth wall.
Is it the one where like they run out of budget?
They run out of the animation budget.
Yeah, so it's
And
just the voice actors.
They go like, yeah, they go like clean cars and shit in real life. I thought that was great, but I think the character is really fun and lovable and all that. I think this like stacks up and is almost in the same like mind bracket for me as Flapjack.
So my argument would be it is tonally I don't think it was as good as Flapjack.
In my opinion, this isn't as good as Flapjack, but I think it's a step up from Powerpuff Girls.
Would you put it high B or low A?
I personally think that Chowder is a low A, but I think we start it right now at B and potentially move it up.
Chad, how do we feel about this board so far?
We see someone say rigged, and then someone said W board back to back.
Do you feel right about that Gumball's ahead of Adventure Time?
No, put Adventure Time in front of Gumball.
I don't know anything about the show.
I know that this show is pretty well received by a lot of people. It's also a lot of people think it's like the cringiest thing in existence, so it just depends on what you're into. Steven Universe, I really don't know.
What does chat say?
It's gonna be so divided. It's either like gonna be S or D or F. I'm gonna say, since chat is so divided and we have no clue, what if we just put it right in the middle of
That's what I was gonna say, yeah. Throw it behind Chowder, yeah.
If I sat down and watched it, I'd probably be like, yeah, it's a pretty good show.
I have no strong feelings about it. Johnny Test.
Okay. All I hear is that whip cracking sound effect that they use consistently. Well, hang on. It did have a really good intro song.
It was literally just American Idiot.
Pretty much. When this show came out, I was for some reason, like during that era, watching more TV than usual. For whatever reason, maybe I was just depressed. I don't know. But I watched a lot of Johnny Test. It's like a strong C.
That is insane. It was so bad that I remember being like 10 and being like, I can't do this anymore.
Really, dude? It had the talking dog.
Every single episode, 5 whip crack sound effects that led up to a fart joke. Over and over and over. It was made in Flash, but like the worst kind where like the characters don't move, like facial expressions are all just jilted.
That's what made it good.
Tell me one plot line from that show.
I remember there was Bling Bling Boy was trying to like rizz up his sisters or some shit, and Johnny had to kill him.
Think about those words you just said in that combination.
Like, you know, that sounds peak, right, Chad?
I'm willing to put it high D because it is more memorable than Class of 3000 to me, not for a good reason. I remember seeing this show advertised.
Yeah, 2 Stupid Dogs.
Does anyone remember it?
I do. I remember like their voices. I remember the little one was like this little like, hey, what's going on? And the big one's like, oh, well, we should do this, blah, blah, blah. But I don't have like a lot of memories of it. I don't think it's like shit to go into like F tier.
What? I don't know enough about it. Maybe it is, but I have no idea.
I don't know. Chat, how we feel about 2 Stupid Dogs?
D or F, everyone's saying. There's someone who's like, what's that stupid dog? I'm bawling.
He's fucking balling. Okay, I didn't like this show at all.
Uncle Grandpa?
Some people have said that this show has its really good moments that like make it worthwhile. Chat is so torn. I see like tons of F's, but a ton of S's as well, or at least a few S's. Now they're gone. It felt to me when I first saw like the trailer for it, I was like, this is doom. We have reached bottom level, bottom of the barrel cartoons. It probably has some redeeming qualities. I just was not about it. The animation, hated it. The jokes they did, hated it. The main character, just not a fan. I think we have our first F.
Everything you said about it you didn't like, so.
Yeah. Somebody said the name Uncle Grandpa implies too much family love.
Well, I'm from Kentucky, so it doesn't mean anything to me. Samurai Jack. Classic.
I think there's only one right answer here. And for me, I think this slips right in between Gumball and Adventure Time. Samurai Jack, goated.
I had more of an appreciation for it the older I got, especially like finishing out the series.
Nothing wrong with Samurai Jack.
Okay, here's a controversial one. Mad.
I give 0 shits about Mad. I don't know what it really is.
It was based on the magazine. It was the cartoon show where they would, each episode, they would have like 2 5-minute shorts that were parodies. And then they'd have these little snippets in between like Spy versus Spy. And some of them were okay. I remember just staring blank face like, something please be funny. And every now and then I would like a Spy versus, or there'd be a sketch I'd like. But every one of the parodies was a word play, and then there was no jokes. Like I remember one, they did a crossover between Twilight and The Big Bang Theory, and they called it The Big Fang Theory. Nothing funny about it. I hated it. But I also understand that culturally it was a big deal, and some of the sketches were fine, so I don't want to call it F.
I think we could do low D. Me personally, I'd put an F just because I didn't like it at all.
I appreciated the aesthetic sometimes.
Sure.
What is this?
I actually have no fucking clue.
Chat, what is this? They just printed this off.
I feel like that could just be a fake thing.
It might be. Is that a giant butt in the background? These are the grossest looking characters. Everyone's like, what?
Here, I have an idea. We'll put it over in the "we shall not speak about it" section.
What's new
Okay. Scooby-Doo,
Well, it's What's New Scooby-Doo specifically.
which was a good one.
The most banger theme song ever.
What's new, Scooby-Doo? They're coming after you.
So good, yeah.
Something solve a
gonna solve-
mystery. I would say either very high A or even S tier.
I don't think I'd call it S tier.
That's fine. Gotta be A though. It was a very good Scooby-Doo. Like there's been so much Scooby-Doo over the years. So fucking much. Probably too much. But this one was good.
I would put it at B, but everyone's saying A or S, so I'll say A, but below Flapjack.
I think that's respectable.
Flapjack was the original idea, like, this was a remake of an old cartoon. And they did a good job. Like, here's a classic.
Oh, dude. Codename Kids Next Door. Now, talk about a good idea for a show. I love the idea of playing off children's imaginations, but pump that up to the extreme and make all that shit visually look real, and they're on all these real, like, life and death adventures, and they make all these inventions that are like super dope. Built a really cool universe too. Characters were all likable and they all had their own great personality.
I remember realizing as I watched it, it's kind of like, just like you said, the kid fantasy. Like,
Yeah.
their tree house is a giant command center. All the villains were like the cafeteria lady,
All the normal, like when you're a kid.
all the loser adults. And then it's a secret group that when you turn 18, you get your memories zapped of.
I think it was a pretty phenomenal show. Chat, if you're saying things like, I feel like no one went out of their way to watch the show, you're just probably too young.
It's an S tier for me.
This might make some people mad, but I might put this in front of Gumball. Like, Gumball is fucking awesome, but I think, especially as a kid, you know, I've got some bias coming in. I felt like every time I watched it, it was like a journey, and it was like really fun.
I love that show.
There it is.
Teen Titans. So how'd you feel about the show itself?
I feel like at times it was slow, but it was kind of like a good slow, like a slow burn, you know? The story, I feel like a little dark.
I
We were
always
kids,
liked that.
but it was like good. Not every kid's show should be like, fun, goofy, silly.
I liked it when kid shows treated me like I was an adult.
I liked it when kids shows weren't afraid to show gruesome on-screen deaths.
Yeah. Do you remember Slade? Do you remember like that whole character arc where Slade is supposedly dead? He died with Tara, but Robin goes crazy.
Literally goes insane.
Yeah, and starts thinking Slade's in the tower and like loses his mind. Oh my gosh, you remember the Halloween episode that was about like Raven, some shadow demon was there, and anytime a character would step into the darkness, it pulled them in.
I think so.
It was like getting picked off one by one. Gosh, there were so many good episodes. I will say, I feel like it wasn't as consistent as some other shows.
I agree with that.
Do you remember they would do a thing where they would purposefully have a goofy episode and then a serious episode?
Yeah.
And you could tell because if the intro was in English or Japanese.
I didn't know that.
Because I remember being a kid and like listening, because it would be the music, and then if it was Japanese, I'd always get sad. So I'm like, I want the story to keep going. Yeah, it'd make me upset.
I think Teen Titans, I feel like very high A. If you disagree, we could maybe middle ground it.
No, I think it's above.
Definitely above
Definitely
Scooby-Doo.
above
And I
Scooby-Doo,
do
above
think it's above Flapjack.
I agree.
Scooby-Doo may end up pushing this to high B. We'll see. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
I know there's a lot of people who are very attached to it.
If not for the very witty writing and goofy escapades, would not rank highly for me, because I don't really love when shows heavily rely on either like gross humor or poop humor. If they can be funny with it, then I think it's good. I think this show had a pretty good balance where I did like a lot of the characters.
I never watched it much as a kid. I like the aesthetics of it, of having like the Grim Reaper. I remember there's one funny plot about a giant spider that I think thought it was Billy's son.
Yeah.
And it would be like, Dad, why don't you love me? I want you to love me.
There was a really, really bad character.
By bad, you mean hot?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, the one that like tried to get
Eris.
Billy to fall in love with her or whatever?
I don't know.
I remember
maybe.
something about
But
that, yeah.
She was like crazy, but she was like bad.
I see. That is worth something. To me, it's B tier.
I would put this at the highest point of the B tier.
You put it above Chowder?
I think I would honestly put this in front of Chowder. It's a little bit crazy to say. They might even be like on the same plane.
I'm not super attached to either. I'm putting it at B tier. Grow up.
Grow up. Regular show. For me, and this might sound crazy, maybe, this goes right behind Adventure Time.
Really?
Dude, this show is so peak.
I've seen some episodes, but I hear people talk big game about. I remember when it ended, everyone like talking about how good the ending was and stuff like that. So what I saw of it, I like. So I'll lean on your discretion.
And Chad, I think, agrees. It's pretty peak.
All right, so you want it?
Right behind Adventure
Okay,
Time.
all right.
I am a firm believer of that. This show does what it does perfectly. Wait, people have been asking for this one. They've been curious about it. And yes, it is here. Here you go.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. How do you feel about it?
I think it's an amazing show. Probably S for me, which is crazy because we're getting a lot of S's. I might end up moving Gumball down to A.
See, I'm not that attached to Gumball to know. I will say I liked Foster's Home a lot as a kid.
I don't think Foster's is an S, by the way. I think it's an A.
Okay.
Because I personally think that Foster's is better than Gumball. But now that I'm looking at what we have, I don't think it's S.
Honestly, I think those bottom two could probably come down to A. High A, but A.
I'd be fine with that.
I liked it when the show got referential, like when it was about Will's brother who has like a monstrous imaginary friend and stuff like that. When it kind of played, because I remember the movie that kicked it all off. I loved that.
The show had really great personality because it was just like, if kids made imaginary friends, what the fuck would they look like?
Everyone's mad about Gumball.
Womp womp.
Well, that's too sad. Anyway, my gym partner's a monkey.
Let's just easy C. I liked it. It was fun. It had like a funny intro.
I mean, like the gimmick of like, oh, his name's Lion, haha. I didn't care for it that much. This is another alternate reality show.
That's just like that's Peter Griffin at that point. That looks just buff Minecraft Peter Griffin. Chat, what is this show? David says peak. I never watched this. I think we have to rely on chat. Damn, that's crazy. There was a twerking scene? Oh, move it down.
Yeah. Put it down there.
We just put it in the unknown category.
Okay, that worked. All right, next we got Camp Laszlo.
I actually really like this show.
I liked it. Do you remember the end bit when it turned out that the camp counselor kidnapped the actual counselor?
Yeah, he's like being like held hostage basically. I can't tell you off the top of my head any like episode plot points, but it was fun.
For me, it's like here. It's not bad. It was just like, it was fine. If it was up to you guys, everything would be an A. I mean, if all of them are perfect, then that's no merit to judge anything else by. I remember that sometimes I would get bored by the jokes and stuff, but I like the aesthetic of it too, just like summer camp. All right, Johnny Bravo.
It's classic, but I don't think it's anything to write home about. A lot of the same jokes, I think, used a lot, so I think we could like C tier this one.
I would put it in front of my gym partners, surely. At least culturally. What we got next?
Courage. Yeah, I wanna say I kind of agree with that. I think Courage had more going for it than we even realized as kids, because I think it taught a lot of good lessons. Damn, I don't know about that.
Fight me on it. There were so many interesting plot points revolving around like this one little town, middle of nowhere, and then they'd have an aliens episode, and then they'd have like a haunted hotel episode, and then they have like the Great Gorlimi or whatever, the magician who had the puppets, and he made them into puppets.
I thought the haircut guy was creepy.
Yeah, Fred, who it was like a Psycho parody, but about shaving people and stuff. This gave me part of the young love for horror I found. Yeah, I'm putting it above Samurai Jack.
I'll let you take that one.
Oh, okay. Dragon Ball, but OG Dragon Ball. I never watched OG. I started with Z, and then I learned about OG later on.
Thing is, this is one of those shows that even if you're not a big fan of like the story and stuff, the art and the music and like everything that leads into it, I think is so iconic and so good. I would put this at the highest point of A.
All right.
I would put this just right above Teen Titans. I think it's pretty safe.
Look, I'm just saying as a kid, Bulma wasn't my girl, but Raven certainly was, but sure, whatever you say.
I mean, blue-haired girls, man, come on.
See, that's why I'm married and you're not. Because my choices were realistic, just depressed women, and you wanted the anime, super stellar blue and all that stuff.
That is true. I am dating a voice actor.
What does that tell you? Anyway.
The Looney Tunes show, if it's the one that I'm thinking, was actually pretty good. I've never been huge on like, oh, it's Bugs Bunny again, but I think this one actually had some pretty damn good bits.
I've seen clips on Twitter and it looks funny.
I want to say this one could be like end of B.
I did love this show a lot, Justice League.
Justice League was kind of good. I remember there was this one episode that really stuck with me. It was like the characters somehow got like in their heads, they saw their friends as like monsters. And so they were accidentally fighting each other. And it was only if they saw each other in a reflection, they'd see their true self. And so they were like beating each other's ass because they were like, oh my God, it's a fucking monster.
I remember a bunch of big plot moments that stuck with me. I remember the episode where Lex Luthor switches consciousness with the Flash. And then as he's the Flash, he goes in the bathroom. He's like, I get to find out his secret identity. And he pulls the mask off and goes, I have no idea who this is.
If I was the Flash for like a half second, I would just like see how fast I could run.
It wasn't as big as like Teen Titans was.
Sure. B is probably where I would be happy with this one. Wherever you want to put it, it's fine by me.
These down. We'll put it here, I think. All right, I'm gonna put this directly at F, I think.
What is it?
The annoying orange Superman.
Dude, that's S. That's peak. Annoying orange? Are you kidding me? Actually, instead of putting that one on the tier list board, we should just burn it.
You know what? This goes There.
Grammy, that's your new chew toy.
What is this?
Clarence. I've seen some stuff online about Clarence being like half decent, but I assume this is probably like a D.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah, we'll put it in the who the fuck knows.
Cow chicken. I didn't care for it. To me, it was like a less good Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, it was like a lot of slapstick, almost sexual humor.
Yeah, it felt like a show that guys were really bitter they couldn't write adult animation. So they just made it kind of like Rocco's Modern Life. Only Rocco's Modern Life was smarter about it.
I think that one's safe to put like low D. I did think it had a good intro though.
Ben 10.
Ben 10, chat's gonna be pissed if we don't put it on S, so I think S is fine.
It wasn't that consistent, I don't think. Look at our S tier right now, bro. It wasn't as good as Samurai Jack.
I'm just gonna look at chat like, guys, Ben 10, thoughts?
They're all saying S.
They're saying S and A.
Okay, we've got 3 left. Static Shock.
Actually pretty damn good.
I didn't watch it a ton, but I remember liking what I did see.
I think this one's a safe B something something. We can put this like right after Justice League. It's totally fine by me. Static Shock was cool.
Dexter's Laboratory. It was the best of the low budget Cartoon Network shows like that. I liked it more than Billy and Mandy. Put it after Flapjack.
I think I'm okay with that. Like, it's not something that I would like binge watch today compared to some of these A tiers, but it is just iconic as hell and it's really fun.
I'll also say it's not printed off, but if Avatar: The Last Airbender was one, I would fight for my life to put it at the front of everything.
We could just stack Avatar on top of Adventure Time just as our 2 peaks.
Because I do think that was my favorite cartoon I watched as a kid. All right, and then this is the last one. Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
This might be crazy. Right after regular show.
Whoa.
Ed, Ed, and Eddie was, to me, super peak.
All right, I'm gonna say something even more crazy.
You're gonna put it higher, aren't you?
I didn't like Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Whoa!
When I was a kid, I did not like Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
It is stupid humor, but they do it in such a unique way.
Like every now and then there'd be a joke. What was the character's name? Rolf. Every now and then he had a joke that made me laugh. Where he's like,
Rolf was
hammer of
good.
discipline, do you live in a cave? Or something like that. But for the most time, it was just like, I wasn't crazy about just dumb humor, right? Because whenever this show was funny, I got mad.
Seeing us now and like what kind of content we create,
That's actually a good
it really
point.
kind of fits.
I got upset if shows weren't like dead serious all the time. Now that I think about it, I can't even think of an exclusively funny series that I liked as much. I'll lean on you because it wasn't a show for me.
I would say, I want to put this right after regular show.
I would say no and put it after Courage if I wasn't 2 points behind.
Fair. I think these two, realistically, I might like stack them on top of each other if possible. But if I'm gonna go watch one of these two and binge, I'm gonna binge Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I think this is a good list.
This is pretty good. I'm happy with it.